everybody, welcome to Round the Twist, episode 302. Yes, it's July 26th, 2017, and I have a very snuggly goober who missed us a lot. So, it's been 2 weeks. I did remember to bring my camera with us on our little family trip that we made. However, I did not factor in the time to record, and all of a sudden it's like, oh crud, it's 9 o'clock Wednesday night, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And then Thursday came and yeah, that didn't happen. And then Friday, yeah, I just gave it up for a lost cause. And I have a Daisy snoozing me down here too. Hello, Daisy Duke. And we have some very clingy girls. So what I alluded to on the last show, yeah, and what went on was this coming Saturday, the 29th, is my parents' 45th wedding anniversary. So in order for us to be back, since it's our work weekend, they graciously decided to do their party celebration on the 22nd instead, so in order to get family together and have us come back. So we took off the Monday after I last recorded and drove most of the way across Nebraska, me, 2 kids in the back, hubby sleeping in the passenger seat. We dropped these two, this one and the other one, Daisy Duke, yeah, that's over there, dropped them off at my husband's parents' house where we stopped for the night after 10 hours on the road. And then the next day took off, drove the last 4.5 hours to my parents. And she might fall asleep on me like this. Are you going to sleep, or are you going to just sit there and be cute? Oh, you want to be cute? Oh, I know. Oh. And so they missed us a lot. They got to spend the week on a farm with my little nieces and nephews, tearing around with them, and some very cute little Shiba puppies who were only about 6 days old when we came back to pick them up. So we had a lot of fun back in Iowa. It was very humid. What was I thinking? Family vacation back to Iowa in late July. Ugh. We did manage, through some fortuitous planning, there you go, Goober, to avoid the Ragbri riders. So those of you who aren't Iowans, you will not know what Ragbri is. Ragbri stands for the Register's Annual Great Bike Ride Across Iowa. It was started, I don't know, umpteen decades ago by the Des Moines Register, which is the main paper out of the capital of Iowa, as a way to promote Iowa tourism, I believe. And the whole thing is you start on the western edge of the state. I almost said west coast of the state. Iowa doesn't have a coast. The western edge of the state. You dip your rear tire in the Missouri River and you take off riding. And the register plans who's going to be the host towns. And over the course of a week, you work your way across Iowa, stopping in the host towns overnight. The longest trip is only like 100 miles, I want to say, in one day that you have to bike. There are plenty of towns that they take you through, places to stop and eat, lots of eating. There is lots of drinking on this ride as well. But it culminates at the end of the week. So you start on Sunday, you end on Saturday by making it to the eastern side of the state and dipping your front tire into the Mississippi River. So you start at the Missouri, you end at the Mississippi, and the route varies every year. You go through different towns, different places, get to see a lot of different stuff. Some things are always mainstays, like the Mr. Pork Chop bus. It's a thing. So anyway, we avoided the Ragbri riders because Ragbri was due to roll into my hometown on Monday. We took off Monday morning, and rather than heading west out of town, we went south. So we completely avoided them, for which I was extremely grateful. The last time I was in town for a Ragbri was 1999, and I was running a concession stand downtown. Made a lot of money, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff I did not need to see. If you think like motorcycle gatherings are bad, no, Ragbri is 10,000 times worse. Personally, what I've seen, what I've experienced, I know there are the hardcore riders who don't do the drink party their way across the state. They get up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and take off for the next town. So they can get there early, relax, enjoy, grab a shower, grab some food, and then they hit the hay and they are up early the next morning. And then you got the people who don't even make it into the host town. They're stuck at the previous little town because they were too inebriated from the beer slip and slide. So yeah, I was glad we could kind of avoid that whole situation. But we had a lot of fun. The kids got to play with a few of their cousins. Got to meet great aunts and uncles. We had a good time, made way too much food for the number of people that were there. And I over-yarned myself. So, knitting show, right? Let's get to what's on my needles. You would think driving across Nebraska and part of Iowa that I would get a lot of knitting done. Obviously not, because the first day hubby had worked the night before he needed to sleep. So I drove all except for an hour. So hands on the wheel cannot be, hands doing this, I cannot be doing this. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way to work that. But for the second day, driving from small town Nebraska up to small town Iowa, hubby drove and I was able to get some knitting done. And then he drove majority of the way back, honestly. I drove for a couple hours going back across Nebraska, and then he drove the rest of the way, so it all evened out. So the last time I saw you, 2 weeks ago, what I had on my needles was the first point of Libra, which, let me get the picture for you. This is a pattern by Laura Ayler. It is available on Ravelry. First point of Libra, and I got the kit at My Sister Knits in Fort Collins. It came with the yarn, which is by Marionated Yarns. It is her Scrumptious HT, which is a fingering weight, 80-10-10 superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. And the main colorway is called North Sea. And then the gradient is her Smooth Sailing gradient, which included the colors Tide Pool, Sea of Glass, Glacial Lake, Arctic, Ice, and Polar Frost. So there were 5 contrast colors, and I managed to get quite a bit done. So last time, let's see, where was I? I had finished the center triangle and 3 of the long stripes, starting on the 4th. So, well, maybe I didn't get as much done as I thought I got done. Sorry. It felt like a lot. So I had 3 of the 4 long stripes. So here's where I'm at. Ta-da! These long stripes over here. 3 of the 4. I finished the 4th and 5th. I finished 3 and I had started the 4th. So I finished the 4th, I finished the 5th, I finished the border. Bound it off on our way back. And I picked up, you can start to see, along the last long edge for the border. So all I'm trying to do now is finish the border, do the bind off. I'll have some ends to weave in, and that will be it, which will probably take me another month at the rate I'm going on knitting stuff. The rows are over 200 stitches long at this point. I'm knitting it up on a US 4, which is what the pattern calls for, 3.5 millimeter. It's gonna be a decent sized shawl. I am gonna block it out because it's all garter stitch. So, I mean, it's a good sized shawl now, but I think I'll stretch it just slightly, just enough. Obviously it's bunched up on the needle. That's why it looks funky down at the bottom. It does not pull that way. This is supposed to be smooth. Nice triangle shawl. If you're looking for something that you want to definitely do in pieces, or modularly, I guess, because this shawl was designed as a mystery knit along. It is done modularly. So I have enjoyed it so far. It's very clear, very concise directions. You can play with it a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact. So you start, and because this one's bunched up, it's not gonna look right, but you start down here. Now you start down here. And you knit this color block section going up. Then once you're done with that, and put the little triangle on the top. Looks like a little scarf. Then you pick up along the edge. You knit across. I'm not giving away all the secret sauce, just directions. You're doing the center triangle. Then when you're done with that, you pick up along here, you knit your long rows. Keep going, you knit your border, bind off. Come over, knit your border, bind off, boom, you're done. So I can see how it was done as a mystery knit along, able to give out chunks of the pattern, and you actually reach like a total stopping point at each thing. I'm enjoying it. I almost want to get another kit and do it again. But I won't. I'll move on. I'll have other things. But that's what I did. I finished 2 stripes and a border and started a second border. Okay, maybe I didn't get as much knitting done as I thought. We'll just leave that over there. But kind of as a, sorry, I have a dog chewing her paw down below me. Hey, you. But yeah, I over yarned. I was like, oh yeah, I'll have all this time knitting in the car. I'm gonna be able to do all this. Yeah, so I grabbed this off my printer because of course I have yarn sitting on my printer. Yarn and fiber, actually, both. All. I grabbed this, which is something my friend Sarah had chosen out of my deep stash, very deep stash. It's one of the 2 skeins she picked for her next couple pairs of socks. And obviously, I stuck needles into it. Not sure which needles, but I think they're US 1s, if I remember right, 2.25. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 2.25 millimeter needles. And I took this along, and it rode along in my suitcase all the way to Iowa and back. And obviously, didn't touch it, didn't need it. Nope. Oh well. But I did get to meet up with Sarah and her family on her birthday and give her the Dublin Bay socks, which she was very excited to get. And got to meet, my family got to meet her family, which was awesome because they hadn't met the twins yet. And yeah, we had a good time. So not much knitting for 2 weeks. That's actually kind of sad and pathetic how little knitting that I did. But when I realized how long the rows are, it's like, okay, I actually did a good chunk of knitting. So I'm trying not to beat myself up too much. So that's it. And I was worried originally because of all these little mini skeins of yarn that were only like 130 yards. I think they were 100 yards. 100 yards. That's all they were. And I thought for sure, I'm gonna run out. Yeah, no, I didn't run out. I had like plenty left of all of them. And the larger one, the Polar Frost, I think was the largest one, had 200 yards in it. I still have like a racquetball size ball of that one. So there's plenty of yarn in these kits. That's the one thing I always worry about buying a kit, is that I'm going to be under yarned for a project and not be able to get more. So yay, very happy with the little kit bag thing from my sister knits. Made me very happy to not have to, once I got through the first long stripe of the colors, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be fine. It's all good. Yay. So, let's see, what else? I have no spinning. I did not do Tour de Fleece this year. It wasn't happening with traveling and everything else. And I haven't done any pokey things currently, but let's do a little Q&A. So from my any questions thread, if you have anything you want to ask me, please head over to the Ravelry group. It is stickied at the top of the group, and you can contribute anything, and I will do my best to answer your questions. So this one comes from, oh, where are you? Woolly Mittens on Ravelry. And would you ever consider a live show? I'm not sure how to do a live show. It would be interesting. You could hear me ramble even more than I already do, but I don't know what the logistics would be because I record on a standalone camera. I do have a webcam, but it doesn't work the greatest. Well, it didn't work the greatest with my computer. I don't know if it's any better. I'm not sure exactly how I would handle that because I don't have a Facebook page for the group. I know I can do Facebook Live. I know I can do that via my phone, but I'm not sure exactly how I would do that. So maybe if I ever figure out the techno part of it. That's the problem, is I'm not a tech person. So if someone would go, yeah, I could get you set up with that, I just have to do this, this, and this, I'd go, hey, cool, yeah, let's do it. But right now I'm like, If I have to figure it out, the way technology, like the computer, the printer, everything, I still don't have the computer fully figured out. The way things have been going, I'm scared something will blow up. So we'll just leave it at that. If someone would like to offer their services, awesome. And walk me through something. Okay, let's see, what else? What else can I ramble about? Okay, knit tog, knit together. Sharon on Ravelry. Hello, do you have any tips for knitting with silk hankies? I love the mittens you made a while back. Do you get the hanky ready for knitting all at once or as you knit along? So far I find the hanky super annoying. It's all snagging on my dry skin. I'm ready to toss it. Sharon. Number one, hi, how you doing? I met Sharon with my mom out at, I believe it was the first Sock Summit. So we've been in touch a few times. Number one, I never finished the silk hanky mitts, the Mawada mittens. I got one done. I'm working on the second one. It's still in a bag in my room. Kind of forgot about them until your question, so yay for reviving that. Silk hankies, they are a pain in the bum. I don't get them ready all at once because they just snag on everything and tangle and so I would peel off a hanky at a time, punch the hole in the middle, stretch it out, break it, knit that, do another one. It would give me a little break from knitting with it just because of the way I tension my yarn. Also, nurse, my hands are dry and snaggy all the time. Best thing I have found, if you're going to sit down and do work with silk in any way, spinning, knitting the hankies, doing whatever, do a sugar scrub on your hands. There are so many recipes you can find online. A lot of them, it's like olive oil and sugar, just like a tablespoon of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of sugar. Don't use those ratios. I don't even know. It's something super duper simple. You can use coconut oil, you can use whatever. And you get your hands wet and you scrub with that. It helps get rid of all the loose snaggy bits on your skin. Then moisturize really well. You could put some really good lotion on. And then the snaggy parts shouldn't be quite so bad. The snaggy parts. I'm so articulate today. But yeah, like right now, I don't know if this will gross anyone out, but I just cut my nails and they were quite long because I'm going into work this weekend. Let's see if I can. You're not going to be able to see it, are you? Yeah, on my thumb. See those little bits on the ends sticking up there? That's just from where my nail was. And that's just where the skin stops. So now that I've cut it and cut the nail back that far, now I've got all these little hangnail-y things that I need to take care of. If I was even going to touch silk, it would just be like a spider web. And you know the whole you walk through a spider web and suddenly you're a ninja. One of those. Okay, the title for the show is Suddenly I'm a Ninja. That's all there is to it. It's one of those where you feel like you've got something on your hands and you just keep doing this, or you can feel a hair on the back of your arm, so you keep grabbing the back of your arm to pull it off and you can never quite get it no matter what you do. It's one of those things. So I definitely sugar scrub, moisturize, 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 and that will help a lot. Keep a nail file, so if you suddenly notice it's catching on a rough spot on your nail, you can file it down. That's the best advice I can give on that, Sharon. I'm sorry I don't have something better. I am going to get back to those mitts now that I remember I have them. Mittens, not just mitts, they are mittens. Full hand, thumb, everything. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'll let you guys go. Until next week, happy knitting.